Yay! Jinx. Hello. Sync and Flow, the podcast. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to be joined by a special soul, Fadi.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy we've met and
Yeah.
that we made this happen.
Yeah,
I'm so
me
excited.
too.
Yes.
Me too. And it just came from a spontaneous, intuitive guidance from within me to invite this man. And did you know you're the first man guest on my podcast?
Oh my God, no way!
So extra special.
Okay, I'm very excited.
Yeah, that is really exciting. Up until now, I've just had female guests, and from now on, everything's gonna change and expand and blossom. And yeah, so Fadi and I were just at Afrikaburn 2025, and it was an incredibly magical experience for both of us. And we just met the other day in Cape Town, so briefly.
But what an impactful encounter! Like I was sharing with you. It's like the first couple of moments, and then what we shared, and then it just feels right. It feels genuine. The healing spirit is something that we can't put on, and once it is put on, it just takes a different form, and it's very complicated to deal with. And it's very rare that you come across people where you really feel genuine energy that is infiltrating you. Yeah, so that's how I felt. So I was really happy when you said we do the podcast.
Yeah. Authenticity is a rare thing these days, and it's something I genuinely try to cultivate every single day in my life. And if there's one reflection I have from the people I meet in the world, it's that, wow, you're so authentic, you're so genuine, you're so yourself. And for me, it's like, what do you mean? Like, of course I'm myself, you know? But I think that's because I've worked so hard to let go of the ego and the layers and the masks and shedding all of that, so that I can be coming from this space of heart space, right? Coming from an authentic, embodied, aligned space of being.
I met someone at the festival, and we were talking about spirituality and what it means, and he was saying that often he finds difficulty with connecting with people that take on spirituality as their whole identity. We were just talking about that, and I was explaining. He was like, what's your spirituality? Like, why do you consider yourself to be spiritual? I had never thought about it that way, like to have to verbalize it. And I remember I said, for me, it's my own path towards my true self. Because the more layers I'm able to shed, and the more I connect with who I truly am, that really is the part of me that holds the intelligence, the real intelligence. That knows the path, that understands the purpose or lack thereof of life, of this experience. And so that's why I really resonate with what you said. For me, it's me just getting closer and closer and closer to who I truly am. Because when we're not, you were saying, some people say, oh, like, what do you mean, I'm just myself? But when we're acting a certain way that is not truly in alignment with our core truth, we often feel suffering. We feel pain. There is pain, whether it's physical, mental. Whenever there's that, it's just because we're trying to swim against the current towards our true self. And it's always going to be a suffering, even if we at the time in our perception think that that's who we truly are.
We are so much more than we've ever discovered or been taught to believe. Like, we are so much more. And I think that's the whole thing of, like, spirituality isn't a concept. It's a deep self-discovery and a journey that you go on within. It's not an external appearance. It's not about the crystals. It's not about the earrings or the hair or any of that bullshit.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, or lack thereof. The tattoos, like, that Western spirituality has made us believe, but it's really like tapping into that deep inner knowing, that deep wisdom, like you said, that activates you to a wisdom that is so much beyond the self. It's beyond the mental capacity. It's beyond the ego. It's beyond, like, who I am in this lifetime as Josie. It's encasing, like, past lifetimes and divine wisdom and higher self wisdom, and that can just flow so effortlessly when we create the space for it and for the opening, really.
When we use a tool that was given to us, which is really the brain, when we use that tool that is so small within the universe, even from a perspective of size, and you try to apply this tool to understand the whole universe, that's so much bigger than this brain. That's where the issue comes, and that's where, like, it's philosophical, and the way we look at creation or the creator, or there must have been or there must have not been. We're applying our logic into a universe that doesn't necessarily go with that logic. And so this is where a lot of spiritual paths, and there are so many of them, and in my opinion there are as many as there are people on this planet, but in so many spiritual paths they try to silence the mind, for example in yoga, like arriving at this meditative state, to get to a point where you're not using that logic, and only then can you access the other type of intelligence within that is beyond logic. We all have this kind of intelligence, this intelligence of the creator. You eat a carrot and it transforms into your human body.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that since we came to this earth. And so unknowingly, knowingly or unknowingly, we are capable of this creation intelligence, and it is within us. And that's what we try to access. And that's what I refer to as my true self, as my authentic self, the spiritual path towards it, to understand the world. And as you said, I feel like with the tools, with the crystals, with the sage, with all these things, they're beautiful, but they're tools.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be regarded as anything higher.
Yeah.
And
it shouldn't detract from our own innate power.
And it shouldn't become the goal.
Yeah.
It becomes the destination. And that's where a lot of us, I believe, and I speak about this because I speak about myself.
Yeah.
When I started, doing yoga and doing, and then slowly started accessing Sufi poetry and Sufi wisdom, and then doing Sufi sound journeys. Very quickly afterwards, I got stuck in one way that I have to be dressed, one way that I have to act. And I realized later that I started suppressing so many parts of myself to fit into an image, which defeated the whole purpose of my spiritual journey and my sound journeys that I was doing. And so that took a little bit of calibration of like, okay, falling into it and then becoming aware and then, doing a lot of cycles of adjustment to then break free from it of like, it is a tool that I'm using, whether it's the music, whether it's the sage, whether it's the candle, whether it's the fire, the ritual that we do, and these tools are so impressive and so powerful in getting us to a place to remember to go to silence, to remember to be centered. They're tools of remembrance rather than
remembrance. I love that. I always speak about it's a remembering of our divine innate selves, not a learning, because those codes, like you said, are within us. The building blocks for reality are in us because 100%. We're within the same reality. And so
we are
literally, like we are stardust, right? We are literally, our bones and our atoms are made from the same atoms that formed the universe, that formed this earth, that formed the stars, the plants, the animals. Like there is such a deep intrinsic connection, and that's why that remembrance is the remembrance of that connection, and the tools and rituals and practices, like you said, help us facilitate that remembrance just by 100%. Coming back to the self. Yeah, I mean, we kind of just jumped into this podcast, and I would love
how else can we do it?
Yeah, like I think with people like us, we're on that point where it's like it's all or nothing, babe. We're committed, we're embodied, we're present, we're ready to go. There's no fluff, there's no jumping around the bullshit.
There's no time anymore.
No time for bullshit and small talk anymore. I would love for you to just explain or introduce yourself to the audience and tell them like who you are, what you do in the world, maybe a short summary of like your spiritual awakening and your journey to come to your awakening. And
I'm Fadi.
Yes, thank you, Fadi.
Fadi Rifaai. I'm originally Syrian. I was born in Dubai. That's where I live right now. My journey has been always clear from the beginning in terms of my passion towards arts and music from when I was a little child. But then life comes along and you hear things and you get scared and you want security and you hear about careers and all of these things. And so, my life took a different path of like me pursuing engineering, which I loved. I think it gave me a lot of balance for my masculine and logical side. And but then I realized it wasn't my true passion, and then kind of just gravitated into music, which is what I do now full time. A singer-songwriter. We create events in Dubai as well that are a little bit more intimate, a bit different than what's usually available in Dubai, because that's something that I was missing. Very artistic, very poetic, theatrical at times, introspective. We talk about books, about music, about film, and we just have a very close-knit community of amazing musicians. And so this is what I'm doing right now.
Get my ears.
I need something purple on me right now because this is not.
It's fine, just by association with me. It's okay.
The glow, the purple glow.
I showed Fadi like even my underwear is purple. So like my commitment.
Yeah, I need to adjust. Yeah, I need to up my game.
It's okay. You'll get there.
But so that's what I do, and then Actually, when I was in Melbourne a while back, which 5 years ago, I was doing my master's in engineering at the time, and that's when I really hit my rock bottom of like me realizing how far away from who I am I was. And that really hit me so hard because my whole system just couldn't take it.
Yeah, I feel the pain of that sentence.
When you face the truth, all of a sudden, that took a really, really big toll on me. And that's when I just, spiraled. But then, thankfully, I had beautiful people around me and I started therapy. I was introduced to yoga, chanting, and all of that. And then the journey continued across the 5 years until today, basically. And every single day from that day onwards, I've been doing my yogic practice, which is Shambhavi Mahamudra. And that really just cleans me every day, clears the fluff and the noise, and shows me truth, shows me clarity. And sometimes that's harsh, sometimes slaps you in the face. It's not magic, it's just clarity. And then you have to do what you need to do. And that's where we are, I think. I just try to share as much as possible. Yeah.
Please talk to us a little bit more about your Sufi sound journeys and what that entails, and what is Sufism and what does that even mean? I literally, after you told me the first time we met, I went home and I literally had to Google what is Sufism, and please share that, because I feel like me and the audience would love to know and understand more, because esoteric languages and experiences are what I'm all about and what this podcast is all about.
So Sufism is I don't want to say part, but it's a sect, a part of Islam that really focuses on the heart, the path of the heart. The genuine connection to the divine in a way that is often portrayed as a romantic love affair, love story, if you want. There's an amazing book, a novel about Sufism. It's called The 40 Rules of Love, that I would recommend anyone to read. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. 40 Rules of Love. And in that you understand how Sufis approach spirituality. And they see the divine in everything as well. In my opinion, my reading of yoga and Sufism, there are so many similarities between the two. Yoga, the actual literal meaning of it is union. In Sufism, that's how it's seen, the divine and life to be in union, one and the same, at least from my understanding. I was a little bit hesitant to kind of read about Sufism and understand it and all of that, but then I remember going back to Dubai from Melbourne, and we were just jamming with musicians, and one of the keyboard player was telling me, he's like, have you ever tried to jam with Sufi poetry? I was like, no, I've never read a Sufi poem. And he's like, just try it. So I Google a Sufi poem and I start improvising with the musicians.
Singing with your voice,
Singing with my voice. And I had felt something that I'd never felt singing anything else. And I think it's because...
In Arabic?
It is in Arabic, yes. And I believe that sound has power, and especially the older languages have a power in understanding the geometry of sound and how it relates to objects or how it relates to us. And
it's an ancient coding.
This is why, for example, there's a lot of words that you find in so many different spiritual paths. So, for example, in yoga, you say which is A-U-M.
Yes.
That's kind of the original spelling of it. And then you hear the same thing in Christianity, is Amen. Yes. You hear that. In Islam, it's the same thing as well. In prayer, there's a part where everyone says Ameen together. So finding the is very important, because it's basically the only three sounds that we can make without using our tongue. So in that way as well, there is a whole science about Sufi poetry and about the language, the Arabic language, and the effect of each letter and the sound and why they're used in specific words. There are books on that as well, which I can maybe recommend to you later. Maybe we can leave some links. And so there's that power in the sound itself, but then there's a key opens you up emotionally, which is the wisdom that's written in the poetry, the deep knowing. Sometimes things that probably take years of contemplation written in one sentence, and then when you're hit with that, so emotionally you're being triggered, your brain and your logic and your emotion is being triggered with the written content, and then the sounds are so beautiful as well, and the way, the formation of it and the geometry of it. And together they just open something up. In me, the intimate circles that we've shared this with, and it's such a powerful thing that I do as a meditation. So we still, until today, basically get with musicians and just improvise for an hour and a half.
And that's channeling in itself. And then you're reading this poetry, that is channeling. Exactly. Like, wow.
And so it's a meditation for us,
Yeah.
It's a meditation and an exercise of giving into the moment. I don't know what the next player or someone else is going to do the next moment.
And it makes life so lucid and so playful and creative and beautiful. Like, I'm the same. Like, with my podcast, I don't prepare. I choose a topic. I don't prepare.
Like
you and I sit down. Like, we don't prepare. Like, I host workshops at Afrikaburn. I don't prepare.
Beautiful.
Host women's circles. I don't prepare. Like, I just speak from my heart. And maybe if there's specific things I want to speak about, I'll write 1 or 2 points. But, like, other than that, I literally just channel and speak from my heart and trust that whatever's coming out is going to be the right thing that needs to be heard. And that in itself strengthens my channel and then my capacity to speak from truth, to speak from my heart. And it's only through trusting your channel and doing the scary thing of being in that unknown space are you going to empower yourself.
Couldn't have been said better.
And the same is for music as well, for musicians. And it's about reading the moment, listening. I think it's more about listening, that intuitive listening.
You can't do that in terms of like improvising, being in flow, whether it's in your workshops or on your podcast or in creating a musical piece for an hour and a half
or painting
but you can't really do any of that improvisation and flow if you're in your head. And we're in our head usually when we're thinking about a bit in the future or a bit in the past. If I have a structure, if I know what we're going to play, I'm always going to be a step ahead. And I'm going to know what's coming. And I'm going to anticipate it. And if it doesn't happen the way I was anticipating it, I'm going to be off. And then I'm going to get in my head.
Out of alignment.
So for us, it's a practice as well to be authentic to what we're preaching as well. This meditative flow that is centered in the moment and that is surrendering. We have to go through it.
Listening, surrendering.
We have to be surrendered.
It's like listening, creating, surrendering. Listening, creating, surrendering.
And just magic unfolds then. And that's the state that we get to. And honestly, I don't feel that way with any other tool around there spiritually. It just gets me in a space. And I think it's because sound is very healing for people who are listening. But I always tell people to use sound themselves, to chant themselves, to sing themselves in any way, because you are the only person that can give yourself the gift of vibrations from the inside. It's your only person. And so that's our journey.
It's so true. I literally always say to my clients, it's your own love, your own sound, your own breath, your own touch, your own comfort that's going to heal your body, because your body is coded with your energy, your systems, your codes. And so giving yourself the codes of deep love and deep healing and relaxation and surrender, it's like that's going to code you deeper than if you're trying to get the codes from other people or from the tool or from the thing. And I think this is like a very extractive kind of patriarchal way of, I think the spiritual healing has kind of like become, with people think they can just dip in and out of spirituality and like take it from the healer and then now I'm fine because I got it from this amazing person and I don't need to be amazing, but it's about, you know what I mean? And it's like this confusion that like it's all from within. It's all your own codes, your own love and your own experience. The facilitator, healer or guide, whatever you want to call it, is just providing the experience for you to be in deeper connection with yourself, ultimately.
I always, every time, remind myself and remind people that join the Sufi sound journeys that I do, to say to them, this is a meditation for me. I'm doing this for myself.
Love that.
Because it is true. Because I do feel like I need it. I do feel like I get healed by it. And this is my process. And I'm just sharing it in front of you.
With the world,
And I think that's important because then they allow themselves to go through their own experience. Because I'm taking my own. It also is very important, like you said. I think we're used to this pill symptom of like, okay, I have a headache, let me take some Panadol. Or like, whatever.
Yes.
And we want the same thing with spiritual healing.
Quick fix. Everyone's seeking the quick fix.
So they're like, oh, I'm feeling so bad today. I think I'm gonna go to a sound healing thing. They sit down, they hear the bowls, they go out, they think everything's fine. It's not really what it is. A spiritual healing path is not an easy one from my perspective.
Not at all.
Not at all, because you're unearthing so much, and you're having to handle, and you're having to deal, and you're having to face. And if you're not doing that, and if it's very easy and you feel extremely comfortable, then we're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, totally, I agree. And a lot of the time we're also working through baggage, like built up, compounded generational trauma, and then personal stuff that I haven't worked from 10 years ago that's still sitting in my 100%. Nervous system. And like once we get through all of that, then we start with the generational stuff, and it's all kind of at the same time. And then there's past life karma. So there's like a lot of stuff that's inside our systems that we don't even realize is there. And that's why when we go into these ecstatic transformational spaces, it should be a large degree of uncomfortable, let's say. 100%. You know.
And also I feel like when we talk about like discomfort, because at the end of the day, a lot of spiritual practice and healing is also meant to soothe, and it's also meant to give you a beautiful experience.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that's
not the goal.
Pushing the discomfort means 3 years ago I might be uncomfortable with meeting new people or like introducing myself, but now it's not. That part becomes comfortable, it becomes beautiful and pleasurable. And if I'm becoming a bit better, if I'm working through something every single day, as small as it can be, then I'm always challenging myself. The discomfort must be there, but not necessarily in the things that the discomfort was in before. And so it's not a path of suffering, but rather a path of the aware choice of pushing myself to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Totally. And I think there is a part of our human psyche in all of us that has this addiction to suffering, and this addiction to victimhood, and this addiction to, like, even me when I first went into my yoga journey, like I would push myself so fucking hard just so that I could feel something, because I was so disembodied, and just so that I could like sweat really intensely and feel the intensity of my breath and my heartbeat, and like really push myself to feel things. And now it's more of like a, can I allow, can I surrender to, can I not try to negotiate the outcome of the experience, but rather just be more present with what is. And sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, and that's the journey of like taking things day by day, being present, being aware, listening, receptive, open to whatever life is presenting and whatever the people are presenting, because the people are the triggers and the triggers are the teachers, right? Yes. And so you almost want to be in Ista, we call it buffalo hunting, and it's
Have you been to Ista?
Yeah, I did Ista in December. Amazing. And it changed my life.
Oh, beautiful.
Still need to record a whole podcast about that another time. Yeah. Beautiful. Have you done Ista?
No, not me, but a couple of friends have. So I've heard about it.
A lot about it. Yeah, it
Did you do it here?
Changed my life. Yeah, in South Africa in December. So very recent. Still integrating a lot of those codes.
Maybe I'll check when they're doing it here next, so I can come back, because I'm definitely coming back. I loved Cape Town. I loved everyone I've met. I've met so many beautiful people, especially at Afrikaburn. Yeah, I'm connecting with all of them now, and just like, there's just an energy about this place. And then on top of that,
let's talk about the burn. Let's talk about that, because that's an experience we both recently shared. But although we never met there, our energies, I'm sure, were like
yes.
So from other side of the fire.
This is why now it's so easy.
Exactly.
Like, we've been talking non-stop.
But in the astral. I'm sure some of you may know about burn festivals. Obviously the main one was Burning Man, and then over the last 20 years there have been regional burns that have started happening all over the world, still holding the same ethos as the burn culture, which is a lot around self-responsibility, community engagement, taking care of your rubbish, matter out of place, just open-hearted ways of being that are self-responsible but also community responsible. So we realize that it's like we're all doing this for the self as well as each other, and that's why in these festivals everyone's just so open-hearted, and it's like such a blessing, because it's like no other festival is like a burn festival. And so if you haven't been to a burn festival, you won't really know what I'm talking about until you go. Highly recommend. They're all over the world. Afrikaburn, the one in South Africa, being the biggest regional international event outside of Burning Man, and tracks around 13 to 15,000 people every year, and a lot of incredible, magical, international people. And maybe you just want to share a bit about your experience and the teachings and experiences you had. I'm probably going to make a whole podcast separately on my own, so I can talk about my experience, because I had some crazy priestess, powerful, embodied womb activations, and really me stepping into that next level of my leadership.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. This festival was like nothing I've experienced before, honestly.
I've been to 8 burns, and this was my best one.
This was my first one
okay,
ever.
cool.
And thing is, I had a feeling like I was in Dubai. I was like, okay, it's time for me to travel. And I'm like, where should I go? I had a couple of ideas, and then South Africa just kept coming to me. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna do it. So I get my visa sorted. I get my dates kind of sorted when I want to come, and then I go online and I start looking for a festival. I'm like, is there a music festival now, or like something? And I explain what I want, what kind of festival I want. And I was talking to ChatGPT.
Of course.
Of course, yeah. So I say, a beautiful festival where you can connect with people, where there's openness, a lot of expression, a lot of creativity. I just explain what I wanted. ChatGPT comes back with Afrikaburn, and he's like, this is the perfect thing. And that's when I started reading about it. I go from one page to the other, and like you said, there's so much information that you need to understand. And the more I would read, the more in love I would fall. Like, it was so beautiful. And luckily I got my ticket, and I found some people that I met online to sort out where I would sleep and stuff, and we helped build this beautiful place. We're calling ourselves Numina. I just met so many beautiful people. I made amazing connections. I've seen art that I haven't seen anywhere else. The space gives you a permission to access a truer, more authentic part of yourself that is still connected to the playful energy of the world and spirituality as well. We tend to become so serious about everything. That's a trap.
It's such a trap. It's
we
such a
lose
disease.
the playfulness in work, in connection,
because we
in
disconnect
love.
from our inner child. That's
exactly.
why. Yeah.
That place just gives you permission to access it for this period of time. And when you do, you realize the amount of potential. How many people you can meet, how many adventures you can have in a day.
Yeah.
And
how many gifts you can manifest, how many cuties you can kiss.
Yes.
Like, whatever.
Like, the potential is, endless. And I came back and I carried that with me. And now, like, I meet someone and I just go. I was telling you today, I heard someone singing at the gym, and I had the thought that I would like to compliment it, but I usually wouldn't.
Yeah.
But then I did.
Yay.
Because you have this capacity of like, that festival gave me permission, but really that access is within me. It's my choice. Yeah. And so it does affect you, it does change you in a lot of ways. So I'm very grateful for Afrikaburn.
Yeah, it really is a life-changing transformation. And even on the way there, I was like so anxious, and I was like, why am I feeling anxious? This is so weird, because like I'm a very experienced burner, and then I realized it was because I was anticipating the fact that I'm not going to be the same person that comes back, because I always have these crazy big activations and experiences that fundamentally change who I am and how I see the world, and just open me up to so much more. And what you said about talking to strangers, like that's been one of my biggest burn lessons, is like talk to strangers as if you guys have known each other for
100%.
years, and like you are best friends already, and just be open. And when you come from that heart space, this is a big lesson I also learned at ISTA. The heart is such a de-armoring mechanism when you come from true heart space. So when you connect with other people from that heart space, it helps them to soften and feel safe and surrender to the connection, because they feel that heart-to-heart resonance, and that's just on a like bioenergetic quantum level. It just softens them 100%. And opens their system, even without them consciously knowing what's going on.
Exactly. And it's like just such a vicious cycle, because my initial thought of like, oh, this person's not going to be perceptive of what I have to say, that thought already adjusts the way I come across
them,
and approach. And then that gives them the idea that I'm a bit guarded, and then they're like, oh, I need to do that as well.
It's the mirroring. And
so it's energetic, it's quantum level, it's logical, it's body language, it's everything together. together. We can't separate any of them. So it's basically one message that was so clear and came to me so clear at the festival, and I carry with me till today. And I think it's gonna be my theme for the next year of adjusting and transforming, was let go of the stories, let go of the script. That's the big one.
I remember you said that to me on Friday night.
Okay, yes. It's so simple, and I think we hear it a lot as well. But the reality is, if we check in with ourselves every moment, we realize that so many scripts govern us.
Yeah, stories that we play out again and again.
And they rule us.
Yeah.
And there's a script about everything.
Yes.
About everything. About like, oh, I'm too tired today to go out, for example, or like to meet someone. Oh, I only met this person once. This podcast, I don't know about it. Like, or whatever. Like whatever story.
I don't want to go to that party because I'm only gonna know one person.
Exactly.
Like,
so then you dictate the reality, but then you go and you only know one person and you don't connect with anyone because you've already decided what your reality is.
Or you decide not to go and then you end up robbing yourself of an experience, you know, and at that party you maybe could have meet as crazy as your future wife or your future partner or something like that. You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know the magic that's gonna happen.
Exactly.
And at Afrikaburn, like, things are so magical and everyone's so open and things manifest so much faster.
So fast.
So fast. And this place is huge. There's no cell phones. No one can contact each other. Okay, so once you say goodbye to someone, you may never see them again. And so you just have to trust that, like, you both are on the same frequency and you're both wanting to see each other again. You know what I mean?
And it happens.
And it happens.
Oh my god, it happened so many times. It's so crazy that I even met some of the people I met there in Cape Town by coincidence. And I'm like, what are the odds? It's a beautiful experience. I'm really, really happy to be in Cape Town. I've extended a couple of times already, but I think it was the space I needed to solidify a lot of things that I realized but I haven't embodied. And being here somehow was the perfect place and narrative and the flow to solidify and embody these things of free self-expression, of open connection, of letting go of insecurities, of letting go of baggage, not letting the past dictate this moment, and also challenging a lot of beliefs, you know, that I had, but I just needed to embody it with people and see it mirrored in others as well. And it was.
And how did those lessons for you, like, culminate at Afrikaburn?
I remember, like, the first moment I got there, actually, I was there early and everyone that I was talking to online wasn't there. And the message wasn't still on the board, but it was because I was just there so early. And I remember the first hour I dropped into a place of fear, of attachment to this specific spot, to what my experience is gonna be, freaking out, etc. So I just got into that space and I was sitting down and wasn't enjoying where I was. And then an hour later I look around and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm in Africa, I'm in South Africa, I'm in the middle of this beautiful space, there's a festival around me, so many people that are open and so much support, and I'm sitting here freaking out. And that was kind of the first thing of like, okay, am I gonna embody what I'm preaching or am I gonna fall into this?
And those are the stories catching us again. You have to be so clever because the stories are so sneaky. You have to be so conscious, so present with your state of mind and your state of body, because body affects mind, mind affects body, and like if you're not aware, the story's gonna come up and be like, boom!
And it can dictate a whole week.
Yeah,
if you don't clock it.
Yeah, literally.
So I remember there was a moment where I said, after an hour, I was like, okay, this is not okay. I'm in the most beautiful place. It doesn't matter. I will find a way. And then I just take my bag and I change into a festival outfit. And I just start walking around. And literally the moment I opened myself up, I meet so many people and I tell them what happened. And they're like, don't worry, we have tents, we have food. Come to this camp, come to that camp. And like in 5-10 minutes, I had like so many open options. But I was only able to see them and to find them once I opened it up. Once I believed that it's going to be beautiful. And so that's the difficulty, because we always want to have something before we believe it.
Yeah, we want to know it's going to be. We
want to see it before we believe it.
But that's
and
not
it's
the
the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. You have to believe it to
tricky.
see it. Yeah.
It's tricky.
And that's how you manifest, and that's also like the letting go of the outcomes and letting go of the stories of like, how does this need to come, you know, like how does this outcome need to come? It could come in so many different ways. I literally had an experience 2 years ago where I manifested like 300 euro into my bank account out of nowhere.
Wow.
Like literally out of nowhere. Honestly, I have no idea, but I just want to say like divine abundance blessings, because like that morning I did my yoga, I did my meditation, and then I did a gratitude journal practice. And then one of the things was like your affirmation, and then I wrote my affirmation, I'm open to receiving large sums of money in unexpected ways. And then like boom, that evening there's 300 euros in my bank account out of nowhere. Literally out of nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, God, are you just showing me something right now? Like, what?
We're so much more powerful than we allow ourselves to see. And that is what we're scared of.
Yeah.
I
think that's a Nelson Mandela quote. He says it's not our smallness that we're afraid of, it's our bigness. And I'm obviously paraphrasing here.
I love that. I remember a time where I was scared of what I'm not able to be because I was not pursuing my passion, etc., etc. I was scared because I was like, I'm never going to be able to be those things. And then there was a time much later on in the healing and spiritual process where I started becoming scared of what I can be, because I can see that it's possible. And I started getting scared of that potential rather than the opposite. And that's also another layer to kind of maneuver and navigate.
Totally. And that's when I think trust just comes in on such a deep level. Just trust. And then when you think you've trusted, trust fucking some more.
Yeah.
And the same with surrender as well.
Literally.
Surrender. And when you think you've surrendered, surrender some fucking more.
Thank you for the reminder for today.
It's always meant to be, whatever. There's more important things to focus on, and there really is, because if we spend too much time stuck in the stories, it's a waste of time, it's not efficient, it drags our energy down, and it prevents us from being proactive and productive in the world and basically achieving our soul's purpose, and which is like the mission to why we all came here on this planet. And it's just so beautiful to be sitting next to someone who is fully embodied and living and breathing and sharing their soul's purpose, because I think, you know, festivals and Afrikaburn especially, like, they give us glimpses into our soul's purpose and what we could be and what our gifts are and how we could share that with the world. But a lot of us just keep those experiences isolated at the festival, and we don't bring them back into our real world experience. And that's been also like a huge embodiment for me, and like even with the dressing and sharing, like I want to wear my ears in public and like be creative and weird,
this is your
and
expression.
and we need to feel safe and free to express our soul's
100%.
purpose, and know that like maybe your soul's purpose isn't even like a career option right now, but like you get to be that one person that invents it and makes it a thing, you know.
Exactly.
So,
but you have to follow your truth.
And your guidance.
We got to get back to is like your truth, which also I think in Japanese culture it's called ikigai, of like finding that something that makes you so happy that then your genius comes through, because you're not working, because you're devoted to it.
Yes, your creative genius.
I think spirituality, if I may say, at least from my perspective and the people that I've experienced, I think it's riddled with judgment, and that's a very difficult thing, because it really is against everything that spirituality is trying to do. If a person is at a place where they're judging people for their own past, for their own experiences, for where they are in life, for their own choices and beliefs, whatever they may be, then there's something that you're doing that's wrong. Then this spiritual path is giving you more identification than it is freeing you. And that's so easy to do. That's something I keep reminding myself of as well. Like a lot of people, for example, who do sound healing or sound journeys, especially people that might do Sufi sound journeys, for example, might have a judgment to someone going to a music festival, because they view music festivals in a specific way or the other, etc., etc. And I'm saying different people from different parts of the world will have different judgments.
I have a great example. Like, I'm a very spiritual woman, but I love to wear bondage and BDSM clothing and like go to kink clubs and sex clubs. And like some people may not be like, how can she be spiritual and do that stuff?
That's the issue though, but that question is something that they're exposing about themselves. I read a quote recently for someone that I follow, follow. And he was saying those questions, those comments, those judgments that we pass are not a light, they are a weapon. When you get that judgment towards someone, he says you should handle it as a lantern that you direct inwards. What part of you is it exposing, this judgment? And once we have judgment towards someone, there's something in us that's still not free. It's still blocked, it's still chained. Whether it's by norms, whether it's by social conditioning, or even by whatever you're doing in your spiritual path, but something is still binding you and chaining you, and that's what triggers the judgment in others. When you see something that is so free and so expressive, and sometimes we don't have to be right to be free as well, because if I am to be on a spiritual path and right now my body needs a specific thing or a specific experience or to going to a specific place, regardless of the right or wrong aspect, then I have to be true to myself now, not to shun it and say I'm bigger than this. Because there's rite of passage. You can't do spiritual bypassing. That's the issue. You know, you have to go through it all. Express everything that you are. If you're angry, express your anger.
And I think it all comes down to like just being in integrity, like your thoughts, words, actions, beliefs are all in integrity with who you say you are and how you act in the world. And again, just that like reciprocity of like, okay, I'm going to treat others the way I would like to be treated, and I'm going to approach others the way I would like to be approached. And coming from that open-hearted space, like, can we all just learn to love ourselves a little bit deeper and love each other a little bit deeper? Because in the end, it all comes down to love. Like, we can say so many words, and this is why I think the Sufi poetry might be so beautiful. It's just like there's all these words, there's all these existential thoughts and beliefs and systems and dogma and ways of viewing the world and spirituality and the self and healing and therapy and psychology, but like in the end it's just like, can we just feel a little bit more, like that infinite nature from within? And then like the more you tap into that, it's like a crack, like you crack it and then you open it and then it starts bursting through, and then you get to like where me and Fadi are right now, where we just want to like share it with the world, share our light, share our rainbows, share our colorfulness, share our brightness, share our love, share our healing, share our wisdom. And like, I'm sure I can speak for you when I say this, like we see every person we interact with as like a lesson and a reflection,
100%,
you know,
100%.
It's like so beautiful, because even if I have like a negative experience with someone, it's still teaching me about myself, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing.
And
so it's
needed,
like,
probably.
and it was needed, and it was meant to be. So it's like I trust in all the interactions and experiences that I have. It's like I can still learn and grow from that. Like my mentor always says, no mistakes, just lessons, right? And I think it just comes from that opening, choosing to trust, surrender, and
it's so simple.
It's so simple.
Yet so complex.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the core of what spiritual practice is trying to get us towards, is to do nothing.
Yeah.
And enjoy the ride.
Yeah, just
and
be.
Just observe.
Yeah.
Because in that being, actually my guru that I follow, he says, my blessing is for your dreams to never come true. And the reason he says that is because he's like, your dreams are just what you think is your best potential. But in reality, if you just let go, observe, and just deal with this moment, every moment, and stop worrying about dreaming a specific dream, so much more is in store for you.
Yeah.
But to get to that place where you do nothing, you have to unlearn all what we learned that says otherwise. It's a whole world around us that tells us otherwise.
Yeah, we have to work, we have to earn pleasure, we have to work hard for money.
It's not true. We have to do what we love for money. We have to flow, we have to follow our passion.
We have to
and
love
then
ourselves.
abundance comes.
Yeah.
And such beautiful things, but just masked with so many layers and guards. And I guess this is our collective responsibility to raise our individual consciousness by collectiveness. That's what happens as well, and this is how the species evolves. This is what the world is about as well. And so we're just doing our responsibility, shedding all these codes, shedding all these systems that bind us and that don't want us to be free and unfold our genius. The rest is not our responsibility. That's all we need to do. Just figure out yourself, enjoy your experience here to the most that you can, and everything else falls in place.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, as we close, I would love maybe just to ground everything we've said, maybe some practical just advice or tips or tricks like that you use on your journey. Because I'm all about spirituality being practical. I'm not about this woo-woo, it's up in the air, we're just floating around in the astral. No, I'm all about making it practical, make it daily, make it actionable,
100%.
and make it integrated into your mundane, because then your mundane becomes not just monotonous and boring, but exciting and vibrant and rainbow and life and ecstatic, and like just a simple interaction can give you so much.
The first thing that I ever did was chanting. There's a specific way that it needs to be done. There are specific things and where you would focus your awareness. And I think that is a very easy and practical way that actually makes such a huge difference. After you finish the set, you just get clarity. And I think spiritual practices are all about reducing the noise, removing the noise, changing your vibration to get you into a place that's centered and clear so you can see. That's really it. Because when you can see clearly how you're feeling, what things are around you, if what you're doing is really what you love or you're bullshitting yourself because of this or that. So it gives you clarity. And I think this practice is really one of the easiest way to reach that state, even if it's for like a couple of hours. I used to do it twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, but any time and any place is okay. So basically how it needs to be done is basically just to sit cross-legged. People would have their hands on their knees or their laps, hands facing upwards, and then they would chant closing their eyes. It's very important to understand the original writing of it is not O-M, it's A-U-M.
Yes.
And so with these sounds, as you are saying them, we would say them 21 times, and each time you say them in one breath. So you take a breath in, and it's very important to have the three segments be the same amount. So to be the same amount of time, so that it's not imbalanced. That's the first thing. The second thing is the vowel A. Your awareness should be here at the navel area. And that's because the vowel A in nature allows for vibration here. Sometimes you need a couple of times to find it, to recognize it, but it's there. So your awareness is here, and then as you close your mouth into U, the vibration, you will feel it goes up to your chest. So that's where your awareness should be. And then as you do it goes up to this area, the throat and the face. And so as you're doing the 21 times, it's 21 breaths, so each breath is an and also keeping the segments equal in duration. And the third thing is to keep your awareness at the right spot, and always at the right spot.
Beautiful.
And so we'll do another one. So closing your eyes, just feel the vibration and shift your focus as such. Perfect. And 21 arms of these.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. You're not allowed to play any music or any distractions. Just count it in your hand, and I think.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I literally have never had someone explain that to me, and that's honestly just taken my awareness to that next level. And I would like to commit from today for the next 21 days to chant 21 times every day in the morning.
So beautiful.
So if you're watching this and you would like to join me on that challenge, just comment below, send me a DM, do it, and see how that changes your life. I love that the practical tip you gave was a sound frequency vibration based tip, because that is your zone of genius. So thank you for sharing the medicine of sound and vibration with us, and thank you for your time and your wisdom and your sharings, and I'm so excited for future collaborations that are probably inevitable.
Same. Thank you so much for connecting, for being open, for allowing your energy to flow, for channeling these moments, for allowing this to happen because of your intention. And I'm really happy I met you, and we will have many encounters.
Likewise. Thank you, baby.
Welcome.
Shukran.
Yes, you're welcome. Afwan.